So here we are in the Asian session, halfway through the week, and the end of the month is here, bam. And everything's getting all drifty on the yen, dollar yen. So I'm using my trusty pip grid to define how many pips I'm trying to make. So I think it comes down to like probably the softest way to think about trading would be $10 per ticket risk. It allows you to run anywhere to a 100 pip stop, or you can run tighter stops and just make the ticket bigger. So that's what I have here with my $10 drops. So this is an easy way to formulate if you've got enough money in the account to handle some of the trades and they last all day long. You could go from currency to currency. I would put sell limits up here on the British pound above this line. Some people, I got right here. This whole window here. We could be hitting that next week. So just to get used to the idea, I think I put some sell limits up here. And some buy limits back at the starting gate. So I'm always thinking about here's a $5 buys. Cheaper. There we go. 25 pip stop. So, I put some 2Ks in here. So trailing buy limits in case it goes up. And the market traders have already pulled the trigger there on that pullback. And for our people, even if it keeps going down, they're buying into that. And somebody asked about the ATR. I just don't really do it because I just look at the chart and I figure, well, it looks like this thing's, if I can fit about, on the daily in this thing, you can fit like 400 pips on the screen, 500 pips, 600 pips. It's quite a big mover. And when it fell in this hole over here, and it got trapped beneath the floor there, and then it came ripping back through, and now it doesn't look like it really wants to give up the ghost until it starts to crush into this, all these multiple rooftops. So we dipped in the window here, pulled back. I still got the buy limit strategy running underneath to capture any kind of nefarious attempt to get away from me. So I want to do for the capture net, I want to have the limits in, and then for the goober trade where you trade right at the market, like, no, I think it's going up. You're certain. And I have a wide stop on that of say 50 pips or 100 pips, and just, hey, you know what? I mean, you could also have the 17 pip stops running. So you have a palette of 10 to say 100 pip stop. Give yourself plenty of room to put all the dominoes on the board. So when the market comes through, and it's either going to tip into your stop entries, and you'll have a goober confirmation trade, which is perfectly acceptable. I mean, people have made a lot of money doing, consistent, rational, moving average crossover systems where, okay, they're being very stringent with their trailing stop, and they're probably leaving money on the table, but like, who are they, right? Would they care? There's a lot of places you can work. Nobody wants a rock star. Trust me. There's places where they'll kick you out if you're like, you do it your way and faster? Oh, no. Sorry. The union wouldn't want you to be there in the first place, right? Because you're kind of like, really? You're thinking about what you're doing? Like, oh. Whereas if you're trading, the idea is that if you got an idea, you can execute it yourself. I mean, I see how people want to adopt a system and say, I'm trading the cloud system. That's all there is to it. And I'll defy reality of these price vacuums and these time vacuums where the market has literally got no time to go down one tick against the last price pulse. It's literally a 1-2 punch. Well, it's 1 and 2, so the and is very small. And it looks like a shearing move. It just shears up or down. And it's over. So that is the trade. Everybody wants to make that trade and then get the fuck out on some level. Or they're getting the fuck in because it's unfair value. So even right now, there's people selling that. They've scalped it so far on the British pound on the 4-hour right now. And their view of it is, okay, we're starting the new little pullback here. And I scalped at least 15 pips, so I'm already good. And the long-term crush is going to be what about tomorrow and all the vacuums that have formed and we're going to fall into, up into, down into. And time is starting to accelerate too, because it's got to happen now to make up for what happened before. And it gives you this cycle. So if you measure top to top, and then you take that and double click that box, and then hold down the control key, and drag a copy over and put it over here like this bottom, and you're like, okay, I get it. So this is your typical distance between bottoms, roughly. I mean, here's certainly the frequency starting to accelerate here. So you could take half of that. I guess is the reason why somebody thought they could come up with Fibonacci time. But if you just take half of that price pulse, Fibonacci time would just you'll lose your mind. But you double that and you end up with this frequency. So every 5 bars, that's about it for a move. 7 bars an extension, and then you have a ripping move. And then, right, it just reverses and it's like bam bam. What the fuck just happened? Of course, on closing prices, it looks smoother than the jagged edge of the wicks, but the wicks are the stop hunt for the, I guess, volatility hunt. Because anybody that's scooching up their stops, right, it's only hunting the stops of a money management bot that's so, I guess, not committed to the original position here. So if the original position that you got into was the breakout of this triangle, and yeah, triangles do exist, they have different, to me this is like I'm just going to say it's small zigzags, so these are dojis to me. So is this, right? But this is like a single doji, this is like double doji, and this could be a cluster fuck doji. But this triangle just says to me, congestion. We're either consolidating to go up or we're going to go down. So it's going to be a very dramatic move out of the apex of that. And granted, if you don't get your sizing right, because this is a 100 pip grid, these big black lines, and if you don't get all your trade plans in concert, so the trailing, here's the huge triangle right before the crush. This trailing money management bots keep protecting this position, thinking that we're just going to keep dicking around here and eventually make it out of here. But we never make it out because this is too much. This is overly looming because this is a larger vacuum than apparently this one. Because once we filled this, it was satisfied, and then this is still deeper. A deeper issue. This is like in Scientology. Go back to your engram. So, but see, this is the price pulse everybody's always hoping for, is the pullback and then one more equal measured move. Of course, these happen on different scales, and we could have that here to there, right? That's all I'm trying to make is that trade. Like, I'm either going to trade the breakout of this right now, or I've got sell limits here for a kickback of something, or sell limits here for a kickback. That's the only, because you could do a rinse and repeat up here after we start kicking back off of that. But for the moment, there's nothing you can do other than put buy limits here, here, here in pockets on whatever you can manage to launch and keep track of it. And the daily charts, you could keep track of it. As soon as you go to the 4-hour chart on any one of these charts, in my opinion, you just lose your mind. But if you stayed on the dailies and you had a 100 pip grid, it'd be very obvious what the swing trade is. Maybe not the scalp should be obvious too, because they're going to raid these areas, and built into this 100 pip handle, peppered around this, you need to have your scalp tickets they're there all week long, because it's always going to make sense if we ever make it down to say here. You could put orders in all next month for here, because that's going to be a huge hot spot. Potentially, it doesn't have to be. I mean, we still have to make it. I mean, for people that are looking long range, this is, it'd be amazing to make it to there. The biggest contention now is we're coming up to kind of fair value for the past, how long? Like, I'm going to go back all the way to here and say we're in the middle of that. So anything in here is just dilly-dally. It never really goes anywhere in the end, let's face it. I mean, the people that had, they went short with a trailing stop here, and then they started to trail that stop. And they brought it to here. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's great. We're making money on that. Okay, then else they get stopped out. And then it rips. So hunt these two stops, rip it down. Bottom becomes a top in time. Everybody's looking to sell there. And then we crush into cycle lows. People are like, oh my God, like oh God, Brexit, whatever have you. And then a double bottom. So sometimes there's not a double bottom. See, here's a single bottom. One bottom. I'm just out of nowhere. So who's prepared for, here's a single bottom that's mind-blowing. Here we're trapped below, I would say here. And we come up, we hardly even we don't really do a retest. We just is so desperate to get back to here. These are desperately brutal moves up and down. I'm just astounded, I mean, if you look at some of these trades, this is the weekly chart, that if you were to hold through this bottom here, and you could actually have scalped it and re-entered just because it was at the 100-yard line. Not even going for this one, which is the ultimate, but being able to buy in a 200 pip range to make 800 pips, and this is, once you defy this floor here so viciously, and it trims off these rooftops, it just shears it, right? And why does it reverse here? Because this is the last holdout, the Lonely Wick. They trip that, and then they rip it back 400 pips. I mean, people realize how vicious, but not this weekly chart. Obviously now, they're going to go there. They're on a stampede towards this stuff. They've already cleared this. Like, you could have placed orders here 2 months ago or a month ago. You could be like, yeah, when they come down there, man. Of course, now, what do you do in the meantime? And all you're doing is getting in the deep discount on sale, hasn't been here in a long time situation. Prepared to buy all the way to here, but it never happens. And then definitely cashing out up into here, and then here comes the maybe it ranges. Prefer actually. So like that here, you grab this hole. As you come drifting back up, smash down, drift up. Also, there's the smash down, drift up, or the smash down, smash up. It's hard to really gauge how violent, but I would say every time you see a long-term area like this filled, the payback is hell. I mean, it falls through this floor of what people would consider. I think a lot of people were like, oh yeah, this thing's it's still going up. I mean, we're all looking forward to blowing this out, but no, got to backfill one more time, and then it might still have to keep tumbling into here. And are you ready to buy the tumble zone and then dump, or are you going to get in before it tumbles? Here with us, here you would have been a non-directional trade would have got blown out there, but the non-directional traders here on the weekly, it's difficult to even think about, but you could have had a buy stop and a sell stop on this one bar on this 1 week last year, and you're a genius, right? They're like, oh man, and then if you ran a trailing stop, you actually made these many pips you could claim. Yeah, I just got in here at a breakout, ran a trailing stop. I made 100 pips last year on that strategy. Are you kidding me? So we can all see that if you're adjusting your ATR to the range of the last week and all these bullshit numbers, it's not what's really happening right now. What's happening right now is based on the current state of affairs of how fucked up the market is, how crumpled up it is. It's totally a fucking mess. I mean, at any point in time that you view it, you want to spin it with a moving average, but in essence, it's kind of the question is, what do I do about it? Is there any trade I can put on right now at the market, or do I have to put orders in that are going to get filled for a month? So it depends. If you want to see something happen, but if you told somebody that has never been scalping and they think that that's actually good money, but they don't want to do that because they're nerve-wracked by the dollar amount. So you would just take them to, they just put in this cornfield here of these stupid-ass orders and let the market come to you. If it doesn't, well, then, we know the total risk is $400, so let's put the tickets in and walk away. So that's the other approach. But here it's just trying to get this account to double this account in a limited amount of time. And I'm just going to try to trade it with stops here on some of the tickets. But I did dump out to get to this balance, make $6,700. I had to get out of my winning British pound and guppy trade because I had to put buy limits in, pull out all the winners, and then come back in with shallow limits to pick up some more tickets. And I did actually get filled on this dollar to the yen. So it's a lot of work to go looking at the dailies, because I will look at the 4 hour, and my brain's just, I'm exploded. I'm just, the 4 hour chart has such a story that you really can hardly even look at that many bars. I mean, I can't. If I go to the 4 hour chart and I zoom out really hard, it's kind of like, it's just pointless. I can't imagine how you would board one of these trades on the 4 hour chart. So I have to get it down to a realistic view of I'd say one zoom out level looks like the only thing I can handle, because I can go to the daily and it can make sense of it. Now, the daily chart, it looks very much like we're just going to keep going north. Nothing to stop it. The pound and the guppy, the pound is just on fire. Australia dollar's lagging. It usually follows pound. Look at this beautiful fill here. I put buy limits on. This one I had to dump because I wanted to buy the pullback. So I hate to let the idea of this going up in the end. I had to succumb to the seller's window here at this thing. So I had to get out. And then I come back in with the buy limits. But this is another low risk currency pair. This is like trading corn. And 25 pips stop on here is healthy. So all day long, I'm going to be buying this. Daily chart. I sure hope they take it down here and do one of these rip-roaring. So the daily chart, can you imagine having an order to buy here, and they come into your order, and you're like, God, I really like this trade. I mean, the daily chart is so easy to swing trade. If you're going to get in here, like if you're going to sell up here around this 100-yard line, it's just so stupid. You're like, okay, I think I could perceive maybe there's going to be buyers under here, so I'm going to buy into that. And I guess if you didn't get it right, if you didn't buy a lot here, then you couldn't have cashed out on the way back of half of that. And then I'm coming in with the buy limits now, so I would put more buy limits in here and just go to the next currency pair. So you should be able to look at this chart in 2 seconds and see the trade on the daily. Here you'd be selling up here. You're just going to sell up there. I mean, that's the sad fact of it. I can't think of another way to trade it, honestly. Sure, you could put a moving average on that. And you could say a bunch of things about it. Look at the weekly. God, this thing is just so pissed off. Look at this thing. You really think the sellers are going to come in here and they're going to take it down further? That'd be fucking amazing. So, they should, though. That's the pivot, right? That's the breakout. It'd be confirmation if it kept going down. So I will cash out here into this top, this next window. So even though we can look back and we can fantasize about this wonderful thing here, this is a wonderful wedge. You just have to say, was there any way to make money off of that? And I guess if you had a strict trend line rule, you'd say, well, I'm going to put my trend line on the first top. You know how steep this is? So it's like an adaptive trend line. This is hanging it from here, and then I would look at the crossover, breakout, crossover, pullback, breakout, breaks here, finds support in that, right? And then you have your, as you drag this out to the, where you can connect to the top. So, okay, it's kind of banging on it. Here it's like, okay, it's right up against it now. And that's where you're at. You don't have to put a Gartley and all that. I mean, if you're really going to take a point and say, how far are we fanning out from here? This is the wedge. This is the line of scrimmage at an angle. Here's the under belly of it. You broke out, you pull back. You're supposed to keep tanking. Once you breach this line, cross over that. You're supposed to keep ricochet off that. And we got our center point right down the middle. So here's where you're at right now. You're about here, I'd say. Here's your resistance at an angle. All right, max zoom in. Yeah, I can see that. It's just like a forward shifted moving average. The big key is going to be this window here and down here. All this. Like, yeah, just beyond here is going to be psychotic. I would definitely buy. That's the weekly chart. But look at this thing come ripping back. Boy, what a bizarre wedge. It's like a snowflake, never to be seen again either. I suspect that these patterns that are showing up now are just, and look at the consolidation of this thing. It's such a cone. This was the most amazing triangle, I think, really, other than the triangle on the dollar yen way back. Look at this thing. Jesus. What a bloodbath. And then once we chop into this, the buying frenzy is just insane for almost 300 pips of ricochet off of that. So the heavy hitters came in here and just gobbled all that up. That's quite a treacherous. I mean, that's basically, this whole thing here is caused from the continual pounding of that, like that area when we dipped in this window here, just made for a vicious battle. And roughly into this area, it just kept banging, trapped between those. Then finally spills out. It's like you're trailing last known doji. So yeah, it's an amazing walk down here. Still making new lows. Look at the counter trend, supposed counter trend traders cleaning up here at the 100, buying it, dump it. Range traders, they just could care less. See how busy the daily is. Look at the weekly, how clean it is. But if you're looking at the weekly like this, okay, this one level of zoom out on the weekly, you're like, Jesus Christ, look at all these fucking pips. Just madness. Especially if you go like this. You just say, where the fuck was this? What kind of brutality? This stop hunt. So here's a lonely wick entry. That's so stupid. You could trade against Williams fractals. You could fade the fractal of Williams and make a mint there. But then we finally resolve the amazing triangle. Or a flag or whatever, a pennant. Maybe it's a pennant. Wow. It just looks beautiful, actually. It looks like some broken leaf off a tree or some shit. Look at this trend line. Break. So here's the triangle here. Is very much like one of those angelfish triangles. This one's pretty sharp and very condensed. Plus we got a lot smaller pip range here, so this should be very vicious. Where this was like a measured move, I'd say this box almost as size as that. Oof, what a ride. And now we're just tumbling down, melting. We did come off this critical tops become a bottom. Very quiet drift. Very spooky for both people. Because what's the once a verdict, as this thing gets very quiet, it's either got to reject this and keep walking down, or if it can get loose, it'll come after this. And then such a tall vacuum here, where this has all been backfilled slowly. This would be wave 4. For any Elliotician would say, well, that's got to be wave 4 or 2, if they're hoping that this is going to be 3, which is going to be mind-blowing. But yeah, this is your classic brutal drip down. I mean, the bears are in pain too, because how often are they really making money on this? And they're giving it back so often. I'm sure if you sold here and you didn't get out here and it's here, you're like, fuck, why did I get out here? I love how the no-nonsense Forex guy has the exiting indicator. I thought, well, isn't that the same thing? You know where you got to get out. You kind of know when it's up, you know. But if you just look at the 100-yard lines, you just go, wow, that is stupid. This vacuum here. This thing came into here. I look at it as the boot trade. This is the toe. This is the heel. I call this the power boot trade. But yeah, it's going to be some wild ride, isn't it? Oh man, stocks are going berserk. It's just, it's out of control. So here we are at the border again. Isn't it going to be brutal? I mean, NASDAQ already broke out, so. NASDAQ. Look at this. Oh my God. So here's where MetaTrader has a problem, is in uncharted water. When you fix the scale, they're like, you're not be able, okay. Gonna go to that infamous round number up here. It's bone crushing. Ooh, the dollar got smacked by that. So yeah, we finally got the dollar trapped up there. I don't know if the Swiss franc ever made money. I thought we were going to cut back earlier. Day late, dollar short. Oh, jeez. Hang Seng's about to take the step up here. So this got a nice cue to go after here. Go cutting into that stuff. And the S&P's holding, closing into the vacuum to the north, uncharted water. Kind of scary, actually. Not a big fan of volatility. I mean, it depends, okay? Because it can, 1 minute, I mean, don't forget the people that sold the middle of last year on the death cross. No, that's Forex guy talking about the death cross. You know, you can't even find that anymore. The death cross. I don't know, the golden cross. Look at this thing. This is going to be insanity. So I'm ready to stay home. I think there'll be riots in the streets with this thing. I'm ready to buy a gun. All the poor people are going to be crying foul when they see how high the stock goes up. Even people in Hang Seng. Ooh, here comes that DAX. Pissed off as hell. Look at this thing. They're just going to crush. They're going to blow the top off this thing. Is it just me? If they can hit this window and then just crush it, and then we'll have just the most insane pullback across the board. Everything will just go berserk. Look at American Express is the green Bitcoin, the original 30-day window transfer. Your green card. Oh God, the oil company's not doing too good. I didn't get on my crude oil trades. I think I'm still holding them, so I think I got killed on my crude oil because I didn't get out, take the money and run. I was trading the cloud though. I'll blame it on the cloud. That's why I have these robots, so I can blame my bad trading on the robot. The fuck? Here. Oof. Yeah, missed my exit. Well, because I figured this would be the big deal. This price. Here was the other exit. If I was going to be conservative, I would have got out here. Because that's the kind of the hole. Well, actually, once we fell in this hole, I would have had to get out the top of that and have to get out here. And then, of course, in the long run, it looks so bullish. I just want to stay in. So this is another, I wouldn't say rationalizing, because it is true that you can see the daily view. And the weekly is bullish, cloud. And we had a pullback, and you're supposed to buy all pullbacks in the cloud. That's just how it is. Especially on the weekly. You're not over trading it. Look at the spectacular. I've never seen a bigger sell-off in anything really in my life. I've never seen something get crushed that hard. There's not one bullish week. There's one bullish week. So they would call that ABC correction in Elliott Wave because of this ABC. That C wave, wow. What a crush. All the way back, gave up all that in just like moments. So now you got to get above this and keep crushing it. And then maybe there's inflation. Like seriously, everybody's rich, but nobody can afford anything. Pound Australia, just steamrolling way ahead of the other one. Look at this wedge breakout. Just mind blowing. This thing's pissed off too. Yeah, price everything's going up. It's going to be global inflation. Pound CAD. So here's the currency that I didn't think existed. So here's a nice entry. If you would have bought, I guess you wouldn't have got filled, but that's why you'd have to give this kind of a big broad entry. Just start buying below the 100, all the way to the 100. It's just dumb money. Dumb money is as much money as smart money. What's this? It's all money. Yeah, see, it looks kind of like they trapped him here on the monthly. Even though it looks bullish, it looks like it's had it. Dollar's crapping out. So by the end of the year, this month's closed out. Everything's going to be getting dull again, I suppose. Especially if we get this huge world stocks are up, oil's up, and if the economy really is doing well, then there's just simply going to be inflation. It's going to be like 1970. Look at this dollar, euro to the dollar daily. So this has been quite the drama up and down, and I think the range traders, the swing traders clean up if you can be in a trade for 20 days. I mean, you can really, but you've got to pick your thing and ride, and then you just be like, okay, well, I'm waiting another 5 days. You have to be up for that. But I think on the 4-hour chart, put the guppy up, pick how many pips. I put the guppy up there. You can see that's very difficult to trade the 4-hour guppy unless you're just going to put in your orders at the 100-yard line, because breakouts on this are just, why bother? I just don't like breakout trading on a currency that has a spread of 3. So that makes sense. But I'd say getting at the market would be better. And what in single direction stops maybe, but not like non-directional on this. I don't think so. I don't know. It just looks so brutal. Breakouts. But I do it on the euro dollar. Maybe the pound. See, this is already trapped. I mean, you got to take the money off the table here. I don't know why people trade this thing. Every time I look at it, my daily's pretty vicious too. I mean, that's brutal. You got to just be able to just swing. I mean, where's the trend? I guess where's the trend? I'm freaked out. Like, what? Should I buy or sell? I'm going to buy this, I guess, just based on the 4 hour. But I do have the buy limits trailing in here. So, I don't know. I don't like trading all this shit. I like this one, though. This looks like it's going to go nuts. At least for 150 pips. This is steaming north pretty hard, too. The pound. Wow. Pound of the dollar. Forget about it. Something's up. Look at this pivot. You're sitting right at bottom becoming a top. It's going to be nasty. Look at this big triangle here. Kind of shallow, I guess. But something's got to give here. I mean, this is some crazy standoff here. $1 to the pound. That is crazy. This was the big pivot here. Crushed into it. We could still take a dive. We still got this hole up here. It's pretty insane. I don't know. I think we'd still take another dip, but wow, sure looks premium on the weekly. Like they just teed this thing up. Got a doji sitting at pivot. Still get a nasty sell off. I mean, it's got a 120 pip wick on it weekly, and then you got to start getting out of something here as soon as you get about 150 pips up, 120. I mean, there's sellers above last week's high. It's just such a stupid game. There's a buyers down here now. Like, wherever this beast has been trampling people. Look at this nasty wick out here. This brutal wick down here. So, this window here, my God, people. Monthly. I can see the monthly. Looks damn good for a buy, doesn't it? Long-term trade. How are you going to survive all the shenanigans on the way there, like just recently? But see, when it backfills into this vacuum, which is invisible on the monthly, well, not invisible. It's just one bar. A 1 bar hole in the monthly equals this slot. So really, how many pips are you trying to make? Because this here, that trouncing, looks like this. I can see this trade. I can see just enough of the market that's really going to be important. Is this high here. Then this guy. Then the slot up here is going to be intense. It's crazy. The new stop hunt. Wow. Kind of scary. This is pulling back. I might finally get my buy limit filled here. So we could topple here. This could be a triple top. Come flying back. Come back to reality. Still waiting for this to come back and catch me. Kind of. So I'm going to come in one more time. Put some long-lasting tickets here. And then I'm done with that. Go to the next currency. But if I do go to each currency pair and put the appropriate tickets in and walk away, come back in about 20 hours, There's the another premium 100 pip risk to make 100 pips. You're just going to buy in this whole big giant hole on the way to the top that you never actually hit. So you got to be willing to buy this drift down. Like here, you'd have a buy limit if you're not in the market. You're probably going to buy like something like this area. Obviously, the bears, the willing bears, as they say, are selling up there. It's so inherently stupid. This looks amazing on the weekly. And the monthly is literally a double bottom. Double bottom spread out and a double bottom currently, but this looks like I said, this doesn't hold then. It's lights out for the Australian dollar. I would say put a fork in it because this could be a problem. Once it starts going down there and monkeying around. I mean, come on, man. The goal is to make it to this bottom after somehow getting through this top. That's the hope for the Australian dollar. Now, don't forget, their buildings are rickety down there. I don't know if you saw that report. But their buildings are like teetering and stuff. They were slapdash built. So it is possible that could fundamentally make this tumble. I can make it look like it's going to fall down. Here, I'll just emphasize the void below. Okay, so just pull this to the top. Let's see. Scary down there. I can't get it how I want it, but yeah, let's go down here. That'd be hilarious. So, yeah, we don't know. This stuff's unfolding at a rate that I do want to buy another retest of that wick. But yeah, something's got to give. Come on. Stocks are all-time high. What's going on? People are crashing over the border. Can't wait to get to America. We can't wait to get out. All right, I'm holding through this thing. I'm back up $7,000 finally. My lower lip was quivering when I was only up 6,000. Oh, it's just so boring. But yeah, that was fun. Buying into that plunge. That's the only fun there really is having risk. I don't know. I kind of like the risk idea. I guess I like risk. It's fun. It's not like you're driving a race car and you're going to lose like an arm or something. Come on, people. Right, so talk about risk like it's fucking, like you're doing open heart surgery on yourself. You trade your own money? Wow, that's like being your own defense attorney. Yeah, I know. I think there's no nonsense Forex guys cut out for people that were raised on indicators. And they're trying to he's trying to detune them, or he's trying to get them aboard the proper indicator. I don't know. I'm just still trying to figure it out. I listened to him this morning and I just couldn't figure it out. Why he never puts up a chart. He rarely puts up a chart and he rarely talks about an actual trade, but he really did have this view of, without even the settings. He didn't talk about no indicator settings, and he'll say stuff like, you've got to go out and find your own indicators, like it's a treasure hunt. I don't know, man. Why does he do that to people? Yeah, I'm not gonna give you my algorithm. It's so fancy. But isn't it? I mean, don't forget, he's curve fitted it to the market, going back 8 years or something. You gotta love it. I don't understand it. Please explain. No nonsense Forex guy. And then go read the comments where people are saying that, he owes them like like, I'm going to send you a Cuban sandwich. Wait for the top of the hour here. Trading is just so utterly stupefying. To see people putting a Fibonacci tool up. It's so cute. As if the market's going to come back to that price when you want it to. Sure. I put my fibs in the places most likely to get tagged. I'm sorry, I got a little carried away there. I don't know. I try to be polite in those things when I'm trolling the No Nonsense Forex guy, because I'm sure he has his best, it's the best of intentions or something. People love him like he's Jesus or something. But honestly, I wish the guy would just say, hey, this is an entry I got based on a MACD crossing the so-and-so, crossing the so-and-so. But yeah, I think it's all subjective, the indicator thing. Mine's just as subjective too, I suppose, but I am basing this on the auction theory. So, cause and effect. And yeah, I guess I could have got out of some of these trades like the okay, 3 days you can make 100 pips. In 20 days you can make 100 pips. But in 20 days, maybe you were up and down 50 pips. So you probably would have thought, I could have scalped the 50 pip swings. Why didn't I do that? Why am I trading where I'm trading, and why am I entering? So I guess if you did have daily indicators, this no-nonsense Forex guy who's got, I'm just going to guess, he's got 2 signals, maybe a trade every 2 weeks to enter or exit. Yeah, I guess so. But at what point do you realize that there's something really interesting going on here on the daily chart, just in the raw data? Why would you want to smooth this out? Why would you want to put a filter on something so amazing looking, so beastly? Well, I guess, it's raw data. I do have the closing price on there, which kind of gives it a narrative, but, or at least a kind of like how fast it's moving from one slice frame to the next frame, which is the Alexander Elder view, is that the market's moving frame by frame. So on the British pound, on the Scuppy here on the daily, that it's going down. A nice walk down, and we could see the trend entries here. One that was a clean break, a little higher risk, was to sell here. And why would you sell there? Because it's a first time the markets give you a kind of a rally that you could draw a line on. It didn't really go up, but it went down less enough to give you that little hump. And it was also a doji. So this little hump here, right? This is the trend trader's entry of that price, if you call this a trend. And you get 3 touches on that, which is pretty amazing, right? And then you finally break it. And here is kind of a little risky, non-directional entry. Pip-wise. Whereas these two, even though you got a fake breakout here, the majority of that crush out of this, that's why on the weekly it was probably a clean break into a giant cavern, which is an amazing trade. which was pretty much naked trading. There's no really, the only indication we have is this giant hole here itching to be crushed. But the first tip into the window is taking this out, and then not too many people can come in here and buy it, even though the people that held that through are up on that trade. And this is the last non-critical top. And this is the here. There's a top, and then here's the top at the bottom. Top inside the bottom. Like here's the big monster hunt that's already taken place. That stop hunt is yesterday's news, as they say. Last month. And now it looks like we have clear sailing for a while. This is certainly a big struggle, this window. We're not worried about that. We just want to make it to here. We're going to cash out above this line. And then come back in with limits trailing below. Rinse and repeat is the best way. So it's like a shampoo trade. Yeah, that monthly's fierce looking. Like they just teed this puppy up for a launch north. I'll buy it on pullbacks. So we just have to wait it out. I like this Australian dollar the best, though, I must say. I'm even going to I like it so much I'm going to put buy stops in above. To do a goober entry here. Buy stop, one tick above. Because you know if it's going up, it's going to keep going up. That's what I'm saying when I drop this ticket. I have total confidence and faith in you. Put some buy limits down here just in case I'm wrong. We've been treading water here. I'm waiting for the big kahuna move. So here. I'll put some buy limits here if they stop hunt that day down there. I could probably go from currency to currency on the daily. Put my buy limits here. Put a buy stop here. Buy limit here. Wait for them to come after me. It's a perfect trade right there. Anything down here is a buy. Once again, I will buy on this Australian dollar. I'm committed. I'm sorry, New Zealand dollar. It's all about the sheep. They make Montana sticks down there. Okay, there you go. It's all loaded. All right, so we're going to close it out and see what happens.